Office hours. Real quick.
Hello, Professor Danny. I think you're a stupid head.
Thank you. Real quick, I haven't heard from anyone in a while, so I assume the class is going smoothly. Just email me for anything, just a reminder. But annotated bibliographies due at the end of this 6-week session. We're now somewhere in the middle. It's week 3 or 4. I don't even remember. So also your grades, if you check your grades, if you do all the assignments, if you've done every assignment, the quizzes and the responses, your grade should be accurate. If you've missed some, I don't think that those are weighing in as zeros yet. So it might not, your grade might be lower than it actually appears. You should probably know that though. If you have missed half of the assignments and your grade is showing up as a B or something, clearly there's something wrong, right? There's something wrong with everyone's math, yours and Moodle and the Canvas, sorry. So let's look for sources, right? Annotated bibliography is going to be based on one of 3 themes: race, class, or gender. Obviously, it's like a Venn diagram. You might have a source, a book, an article, whatever, that could easily apply to all 3. The triangle fire is a perfect example. This is a subject which deals with gender, since it's primarily female employees. Race, since they're not just immigrants per se, it's immigrants from specific places, right? Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, Jews, Catholics, which at the time was, there was a different perception about what you call white ethnic groups. So, and obviously class, because they're working in sweatshop conditions, basically. So let's look for a source. Hey, this is, by the way, this is the page where you find these episodes if I don't share them with you. They also end up on YouTube. Well, let's look for a source. Let's do just a Google search. How about that? Google. Google, not maps, just Google. Standard Google search. Okay. We're going to go with race. No, you know what? Let's go with gender. Let's go with gender. How about this? Gender. Let's just type the word in, gender. Gender equality, gender fluid, gender predictor. These are interesting. Let's just go with gender. The definition: the state of being male or female, typically used with reference, blah, blah, blah. We got Wikipedia. Do not use Wikipedia. I would avoid using, well, no, so let's see. No. Genderspectrum.org. It's an organization. Org means it's going to probably be biased, right? Because this is clearly like some sort of group possibly advocating for or against, gender identity. Here we go. We got an article in Tennessee. Remember, 1 book, 2 academic journals, and the rest can be what are called periodicals. These are periodicals. Here's one. This is an article in the Tennessean. It is part of the USA Today network. I'm not sure if that's not the same as the. Okay, this works as a periodical, right? It's a substantial. It's not right. It's not extensive in length like an academic journal or a book, but it is a solid article from a reputable news outlet. That's one. Gender. There we go. Let's go for another one. Let's just go with the news here. Okay, well, we get one more here. We get one more. Court allows offender risk that considers gender. Here we go. The state Supreme Court says judges can rely on a risk assessment test that considers gender when sentencing offenders. I don't know what, probably. Okay, Milwaukee, Wisconsin Journal Sentinel. This is good. This is a good newspaper. Charged with multiple counts. Oh my goodness. No lucky. Drive-by shooting case. Okay. This would be an interesting one too. And all we do is we assess, we summarize the article, what's it about, we assess it. How reliable is it? Is there bias? And then we reflect, which is where we say, how does this fit into just the general topic of gender? How does it inform us about gender? How does it alter our ideas in any way of gender, or confirm our ideas? Right. So there's two. Those are two periodicals which can easily be found for a Google search. When it comes to books and articles, Google searches might work. You might find an academic journal article, or you might find a chapter of a book on Google Books. Which, if you find enough of a book, if you find a chapter, or if you find especially if you find the introduction of a book, you can just cite the whole book, because you will find out what the book's about just by reading the introduction. Do not read the whole book. That would be a waste of time for the scope of this class. But for academic journal and book, let's go with the library. SJ Library. Hey, look at that. Here we are, San Jose Public Library. You know what? Let's go with the downtown library. I'm going to back it up. Let's go with the downtown library. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Name drop. I just took a sip of coffee. San Jose Public Library. If you're a student at San Jose State, you can use your student ID and have access to there's some materials, certain material there you have access to that others don't. This is the library catalog right here. Type in anything. Okay, search books, movies, and more. Gender. Let's see what comes up. Gender, basic ideas. Let's look for something interesting. Gender and world perspective. That's good. So we can so that for something like that, if you get something that goes beyond the borders of the US, that is totally cool to use. You just have to, in that third paragraph, the reflect paragraph, explain how learning about gender from a global perspective informs you about gender in the United States. In the United States, from the end of the Civil War till today, how does it relate? That's a good one. Let's use that one. How many pages? It's on the 7th floor. How many pages is this book? Published in 2009. That's good. It's relatively recent. It's going to have a lot of the areas of study that is everything in the field of gender studies. Like a lot of it from the last 30, 40 years is going to be not going to be ignored, and it will be taken into account in this person's public, depending on and it also depends on what they do for a living. Are they a sociology professor? Are they a journalist? Are they a historian? But there's a lot of push towards interdisciplinary, right? So historians taking into account archaeology, anthropology, and sociology, blah, blah, blah. 180 pages, not bad. 180 pages, good. You can, so that's 2. When it comes to articles, this is probably taking more than 5 minutes. So false advertising. But let's go back. Let's see if there's a catalogs using the library. Collections. No. California room. Where is? Okay. Let's see. Huh. I'm having trouble finding like articles databases. There's a thing usually where you can find, it says articles. Here we go. E-learning and articles. Let's look for this. Hopefully we get some scholarly stuff out of this. Let's look for history. I could have done this more. It's not. There's no history here. That's wonderful. Well, let's just search it, shall we? Oh, you know what? Let's look for JSTOR. Here we go. History and biography. I don't know about these. Well, whatever. Triangle. Let's just search for triangle. Fire. There we go. First hit is going to be the documentary we watched. Boom. There it is. And then a book. This book, Leon Stein, written by a man in 1962. That's probably all right. I go with more recent stuff because more recent stuff takes into account, since the 1960s, there's been a real push for ethnic studies. Ethnic studies really came out of the 1960s. If you look at the Black Panther Party 10-point plan, it calls for that. They used to call it TWANUS, Third World and Native American Studies. So the idea of learning about people of color, women, of other groups, right? Not just the traditional history, social history. So something published since then. Get something by a woman too, if you can. Not that there's anything wrong. Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with look at every single book about triangle is written by a man. This is ridiculous. Here we go, Mary O'Keefe. This looks like a children's book. Don't do that. The Tragedy of Triangle, Friendship in the Tenements and the Shirtwaist Factory. This would be interesting because this is clearly in the subtitle, Friendship in the Tenements. We're not just talking about the Triangle Fire. We're talking about what kind of lives these women led before they died, right? Because that is important. That's important. It looks like it's in the children's nonfiction, and this might be something a little too young. We want something a little, yeah, here, okay. Well, pick one of these, right? It's that simple. The point being, it's that simple. It's not about locating, you're not writing a paper where you're making an argument where you have to find the best research out there. And you have to make this watertight, airtight, any kind of tight argument, right? This is about putting feelers out there, finding a source. Oh, this says gender pay gap, and maybe it's relevant. Let's read it. It wasn't really that useful, right? It's okay. It's about trial and error, but you're basically showing yourself. You can absorb a source, you can read it, and you can tell people what it's about, and do the basic analysis of whether it's relevant or not, whether it's reliable or not. That's important, right? It's called summary analysis. It's called thinking. This is good. So and I'm gonna email the link of this video to you, and I'm going to share some links to some forwarded emails, some emails about some resources on campus and whatnot. Anyways, let's call that. We'll call that NAWA. We'll call that NAWA. No, let's call that a day. Remember, email me for anything, okay? And this is the end of office hours.
Hello, Professor Danny. I think you're a stupid head.
Wonderful. Signing off.